Niles Township District for Special Education is a special education cooperative who provides supports and services to its 9 elementary school districts and their students. NTDSE was the second cooperative formed in the state of Illinois, with the Molloy Education Center being the first public therapeutic day school in the state. Today, Molloy services over 130 students with the most significant disabilities. In addition, we service approximately 150 students within multiple satellite locations located in our elementary schools in the township. We also provide therapies, professional development, assessment, business services, coordination of special education, and a variety of other supports to our member districts and direct services to over 40 non-member students. The strong foundation that has been laid at NTDSE since 1957 is indicative of our success today. NTDSE continues to build on the foundation that has been passed down for over 50 years, serving our most vulnerable population.
Mike was born in December of 1957. The delivery went easy, and there was no problems at birth. When he was almost 2 years old, I realized that his developmental milestones were very slow in developing, and I consulted with another pediatrician. After he examined him, the pediatrician told me that he was mentally retarded.
How did you feel about that?
I was devastated, confused, and did not know where to turn. Little did I realize when I moved to Skokie that not very far from me, just a few blocks away, there were other parents whose children were diagnosed also with mental retardation. They had been as devastated and confused as I was. The first group of parents of 4 or 5 children rented the basement of a house on Kedvale in Skokie. That house was condemned, and the families had to find another place for their children. They were determined to strike their own matches and light their own way out of the darkness. They hired a person, Julia S. Molloy, who was a speech therapist and a physical therapist. She started the work with a small group of children in 1952 in Skokie and was tireless with her efforts. She was denied space in the Skokie Park District field houses because they felt that the children might prove to be objectionable, and because sometimes they found a better use for the space that they had given her. After dozens of setbacks, she was finally offered a plot of land in Skokie, and they built a very small school the size of a 2-car garage. The parents financed the school with their own money, and when they thought they had everything all set, the owner decided to have a better use for his property and asked them to move. Julia Molloy was an advocate, and she believed that all children had the right to maximize their potential. She attended organizational meetings, the Skokie Chamber of Commerce, the trustees of the Skokie Village Hall, philanthropic groups like Ben Levin Foundation and the National Council of Jewish Women, to fund her vision for a school in Skokie. Finally, they were offered a plot of land, and they decided to build a school for this unserved population of children. Tradesmen from the area donated their time to build the school during a very hot summer. The school opened in 1955 and was named Orchard School. In 1962, the director of special education in the state of Illinois proposed a legislative bill to educate all children with disabilities from the ages of 5 to 18. And that bill was later amended to include children between the ages of 3 and through their 21st year. His name was Dr. Vernon F. Frazee. Dr. Frazee had the same hopes and dreams for a population of disabled children as did Julia Molloy. Dr. Frazee accepted the position in Niles Township as their special education director after his House Bill 1407 was adopted in Springfield and was free to guide the new Molloy Education Center to its fruition.
When the Molloy Center opened in 1969, it was a school that was specially designed for students with moderate intellectual disabilities, what was in those days referred to as trainably mentally handicapped. This was one of the first schools that was specifically designed for students with disabilities. And it was really a home for students for the entire educational career. They were here from the time they were 3 until they graduated at 21.
Mike was able to start Orchard School when he was about 4 years old in 1962, and the teachers he had were not well trained in children with special needs, but they had a lot of love.
Over the past 5 decades, the needs of our students have changed dramatically. The type of students initially educated at Molloy are often now attending school in NTDSC satellite classrooms hosted by our member districts. And we are so grateful because this is a wonderful opportunity for those students to have integration opportunities outside of Molloy with their peers.
NTDSC has also continued to provide professional development to teachers, professional support staff, and paraprofessionals for the purpose of improving assessment, goal writing, curriculum, the utilization of the community for generalizing skills, and the use of research-based methodologies in the areas of autism spectrum disorder, social thinking, executive functioning, positive behavior strategies, as well as conflict resolution, to name a few.
Beginning in the mid to late 90s, more and more emphasis was placed on inclusion and opportunities for mainstreaming. And so many students who were formerly educated at Molloy began to be educated in classrooms in general ed buildings. At the same time, the population of Molloy changed, and we began to service students with more significant intellectual and orthopedic challenges. Many of our students also had medical challenges, and we began to see an increase of servicing students with autism. This resulted in a dramatic change in our staffing structure, as our related service population, for instance, went from 1 professional in each discipline to multiple professionals, as the needs of our students required a higher student-staff ratio.
This change in student population has required physical changes within the building, both inside and out. We constructed our playground over the past 3 years, and it is accessible to all students, including those students in wheelchairs. Our therapy pool was renovated about 7 years ago to install an overhead track system, which allows our physical therapists to allow students who cannot to gain access to the pool for aquatherapy. We have created a gross motor room, which is a wonderful opportunity to offer support for students who have physical needs, and that gross motor room has the same overhead tracking system, which allows us to move students safely so they can receive therapy anywhere within the room.
Working in a cooperative where there are many disciplines involved has provided me with unique opportunities for co-treating with other professionals from other disciplines, music therapists, occupational therapists, vision itinerants, physical therapists, and also provides us with many opportunities for learning from each other.
One of the really unique things about Molloy is this family concept. And over the years, we've had a number of our parents who started out as parents and then either came back here to take jobs as teaching assistants, or in a few cases went back to school and actually became certified teachers. And they bring the perspective of not just being a professional in the field, but they bring that parent perspective. And when they talk to other parents about what it's like to be a parent of a child with a disability, they can speak of the reality as both a parent and as a professional. And that's when we're at our most authentic, when we can identify the reality of servicing children with special needs.
I was trying to find a way for myself to help him through the rest of his life. And because I had no college, I had decided to start college and find out what was going on in the area of special education. I graduated in 1969 in December, a few months after Molloy Center was opened. I applied for a job as a substitute teacher, and in the fall of 1970, I was hired as a teacher at Molloy Center. I taught for 4 years, and there were 2 principals between the time that I was hired and I got my master's degree. And when the second principal left Molloy Center, that's when I applied for the job and became the principal for 19 years.
It is the commitment to empowering all to achieve that attracted me to this organization and has maintained my desire to work here since 1978. It's so fulfilling beyond words to be able to see a student who has not been able to communicate before suddenly learn that they have the power of a communicator at their fingertips with their communication device and be able to tell you what they want to do as well as what they don't want to do. Just seeing the dedication of all of the staff members involved who are all working together toward these goals of helping our students advocate for themselves, both things that they want as well as things that they don't want, has been extremely rewarding.
Michael made some remarkable changes when he started school at Orchard School. He was unfocused before he got there. He was able to stay on task. He was able to follow directions and the rules, and he made some very good progress.
Today's students often need a lot of assistive equipment, and that can be a challenge. Equipment such as wheelchairs, standers, adaptive bikes, assistive tech devices, they take up a lot of space, and managing that inside of a brick and mortar building not designed for it can be challenging. This change in student population as well as student growth has triggered planning by the district to increase our space. Our building has great bones and has been very well maintained inside and out over the years, but we need to make changes so we can move forward to help the students who attend Molloy now be able to fully access their education.
I think the passion that Mrs. Molloy and the original parents felt for their children and their children's needs has been infused into these programs that we're offering.
It is a privilege to work in a community that values and respects all people and one that empowers all to achieve. The Molloy Education Center has been a pillar in our community for 50 years, and we are excited to continue evolving to meet the needs of the students who we educate here today to ensure they are challenged, inspired, and educated to their fullest potential.